Sikh Traditions and Violence. In the early 1980s, Sikh separatists began fighting for an independent state of Khalistan to be located in place of the Indian state of Punjab. This struggle connected the past with the present, with a central theme of martyrdom within the separatist discourse drawn from the valorization of death in battle, expressed in Sikh religious history. The struggle for Khalistan was a resistance movement against the perceived injustices of the Indian state, and a political movement aimed at sovereign rule, but it also provided an existential means of being a Sikh, independently of instrumental political goals. This combination is a particular point of interest to those concerned with religion and violence. The discussion about Sikhism and militant protest begins with the debates about the nature of the first guru, Nanak. Though often portrayed as a reclusive meditative figure like the Buddha, with his eyes half shut in spiritual rapture, he was also recorded as having challenged the prevailing socio-religious order. The pacifist image of Guru Nanak was promoted by scholars who regarded him as a reconciler, taking the best of Islam and Hinduism, and merging them into a new religion. Some German observers such as Ernest Trump, 1828–1885, went so far as to define Sikhism as a synthesis of Hindu and Muslim traditions. Sikhs almost uniformly reject the idea that Sikhism is a blend of Hinduism and Islam. Most Sikhs see Guru Nanak as a critic of both religions, since he quite firmly criticized what he saw as flaws in the Muslim and Brahmanical Hindu traditions, saying clearly that a Sikh was neither a Muslim nor a Hindu. It is true, however, that the Guru Granth Sahib contains ideas from Hindu, Muslim, and other predominant idioms of the times. The fact remains that the teachings of Guru Nanak were spiritually rebellious as much as they were politically benign. The Dabistan, written in 1645 by Mohsin Fani, refers to the compositions of Guru Nanak as replete with praises of God and ethical instruction. The bulk of his poetry is on the greatness and purity of God. All of it was in the language of the Jats, the peasants who belonged to the lowest category of the trading caste of the Punjab. According to Guru Nanak, as quoted in the Dabistan, there are innumerable skies and earths. The Nabis, the Aulia, the Avatars, and the Siddhs, have attained perfection by devotion to God. Whosoever worships him sincerely, whatever his path, would attain nearness to God. Non-injury to living beings is the means to this goal. The Dabistan continues. Guru Nanak was a storekeeper of Daulat Khan Lodi. The mystical spirit came over him and acquired power over his heart. Thereupon he went to the storehouse, and whatever grain he had in the shop, he gave away, and broke ties with his wife and children. To be brief, Nanak took to severe austerities, and first of all reduced his food. After some time, he contented himself with drinking a little milk. Then, he took only ghee. Then, only water. Finally, he only swallowed air, writes Mohsin Fani. He visited the holy sites of Mecca and Medina, as well as Haridwar and Benares. His followers describe so many of his miracles that this short account cannot find space for them. One will suffice here from the Dabistan. One evening, Nanak was in deep trance inside a fort. Some children were playing around. However much they laid their hands on his body, there was no reaction from him. They tied a bandage around his eyes, and tied his hands together. When Nanak recovered from his trance, he found himself tied up in this manner. He thereupon walked towards one of the houses and cried out, "Is there someone in this house who can untie my eyes and hands?" A handsome woman took him inside the house, untied his hands, and opened the bandage. Necessarily, some of the color of the woman's forehead mark was left on Nanak's forehead. As Nanak came out of the house, the neighbors saw him, and thought he had had intercourse with the woman. As a result, the woman became a butt of scorn among the people, and her husband too began to spurn her. One day, the woman came to Nanak and told him, "I, for the sake of God, rendered you service, and now they all suspect me." Nanak said, "Tomorrow the gate of the fort will be shut, and will not open until touched by your hand." The next day, however much people tried to open the gate, it did not open. The people found themselves in a condition of distress, since it was an elevated place, far from water. Animals too could not be taken out. The residents of the fort went to persons in whose virtue they had faith. But the gate did not open at those persons' prayers as well. At last the people went to Nanak, and asked him, "O Holy Master, what is to be done in this matter?" He replied, "This gate will not open, except by the hand of a woman, who has not done anything inappropriate with a stranger." Every woman in whose virtue and piety they had faith, was taken to the gate, but to no avail. This went on, till every woman who was in the fort, went to the gate, but to no profit. As a result, the people gave up, sitting down in despair. At the time of the afternoon prayers, the woman who had sincerely helped Baba Nanak came. Seeing her, the people laughed, and her husband and relations, being ashamed, scolded her. But the woman lent no ear to her family's words, and putting her hand to the door ring pulled it. The closed gate swung open. People, taken by surprise, now fell at the woman's feet. Surat Singh, a contemporary of the seventh Guru, visited the tomb of Guru Nanak in 1647, and wrote the following lines in his work. When Guru Nanak died, leaving this world for another abode, Hindus and Muslims gathered around the Baba's head. The Hindus said that he was a Hindu, and thus he ought to be cremated. The assemblage of Muslims desired to make a grave for him. 2 bodies of his, thereupon came to view. One they took and cremated, and the other was put in front for the funeral prayer. Bhai Das, a contemporary of the fifth Guru, refers to the holy book or Granth compiled by Guru Arjan, and equates the Shabad of the Guru, with the Guru. A phrase which occurs frequently in the Vars of Bhai Das, for the path of Guru Nanak is, it is beyond the Vedas and the book, that is, the Indian and the Semitic scriptures. The path of Guru Nanak is superior to all others. It is the only highway, compared with the numerous footpaths. Bhai Das insists on exclusive affiliation to the Guru. The importance given to the Sangat, or congregation, is amply underscored by Bhai Das. There are some points in the Dabistan which bear comparison with the evidence of Bhai Das. For example, the belief that Guru Nanak was the incarnation of Raja Janak. This also figures in the work of Bhai Das, who refers to its significance too. Janak combined in himself both temporal and spiritual power, or Raj Jorg. This idea is closely related to the ideal of living pure amidst the impurities of the world. To live in the world, but to remain detached. This phrase occurs frequently in the Vars of Bhai Das. The Dabistan too, mentions that renunciation was not approved of by the Gurus. The swordsmanship of Guru Har Gobind, to which the author of the Dabistan makes a reference, is emphasized in Sikh sources also. The Dabistan illustrates the devotion and dedication of the Sikhs to Guru Har Gobind, and the consideration which the Guru showed for the Sikhs. They should serve other Sikhs as they would serve the Guru. Complete dedication to the Guru is emphasized by Bhai Das. A Sikh of the Guru, serves the Sikhs of the Guru like his mother, father, brother, and friend. The author of the Dabistan, indicates at several places that the Sikhs were not much concerned about caste distinctions. There was no restriction on a Brahmin becoming the Sikh of a Khatri, or a Khatri subordinating himself to a Jat. A Sikh named Saad, did not hesitate to remove his sacred thread to help the author of the Dabistan, who was travelling with him from Kabul to Punjab. Among the Sikhs there were no such modes of worship and austerities as the Hindus felt obliged to observe, and there was no restriction on food and drink. Bhai Das refers to a prominent Sikh of Guru Arjan who was formerly a Chandal. All the 4 Varnas were reduced to 1, and the pauper was made equal to the prince. There was no difference between the young and the old, as there was no difference between the pauper and the prince. The house-holding Sikh of the Guru, he writes, avoids the sacred thread like dirt. The author of the Dabistan indicates in several ways that the Sikhs had a religious identity of their own. At places, he is quite explicit. The Sikhs did not believe in idols or idol worship. Like Muslims, Guru Nanak believed in the oneness of God, but he subscribed to the idea of transmigration as well. He did not believe in incarnation, and regarded the gods and goddesses of the Hindus as creatures of God. They did not worship the idols of Hindu gods. They were equidistant from both Hindus and Muslims. The Sikhs did not recite Hindu mantras, and they did not care for Sanskrit, regarded by the Hindus as the language of angels. They held that the udasi, that is, a religious recluse, is not of commendable faith. Thus some Sikhs of the Guru pursue agriculture, some, the profession of merchants, and some, that of service. Every one each year, according to his own resources, puts together money and takes it, by way of his offering, to a mahsand, or deputy. On the whole, thus, the Sikhs are presented as distinct from Hindus and Muslims. Baigur Das also talks of the Sikh panth, as distinct from both Hindus and Muslims. The true Guru is also the true king whose emblems are the Sangat and the Shabad, which are open to both Hindus and Muslims. In comparison, the worldly rulers are false. Mohsin Fani also recorded numerous stories about the lives of Sikhs in his work The Dabistan. Parmanand had become a Sikh, in the time of Guru Arjan or earlier. Parmanand was a man of handsome appearance and heart-captivating eye. Owing to this, women were attracted to him, and he never stopped practicing adulterous acts, until as a result of the increasing effect of leprosy, he had to leave his native place. He encountered a Sikh, and swore to him by the Guru, that he should take him to the Guru. He took him to the Guru's seat of residence. On seeing the Sikh, the Guru read his mind, and called out for Parmanand. When they took him to the Guru, he ordered a Sikh to give his virgin daughter in marriage to him. The Sikh obeyed. After the marriage, the Guru called him and cast his sight of favor upon him. With the grace of the Guru's eyes, his leprosy began to heal. Thereafter the Guru called him his son, and appointed him to the position of a mahsand, or deputy. Similarly, they say, there was a mendicant staying in the house of a Sikh. One day the mendicant said to the Sikh's wife, "For the Guru's sake, satisfy my lust." The woman said, "I am in someone else's possession. Restrain yourself." The mendicant, out of fear, ceased to come to the Sikh's house. The Sikh asked his wife, "Why does not the mendicant come inside the house?" The woman recounted his solicitation. The Sikh said, "Why did you reject his solicitation?" The woman went out, and pleading with the mendicant brought him home, and had intercourse with him. When in the month of Vaisakhi, they went to visit Guru Arjan, the Guru looked angrily at the mendicant, and said, "I strike at this man." The mendicant was struck with leprosy. As the community of Sikhs grew, and the mantle of the Guru's spiritual authority was passed from one to another, questions about definitions arose. Islamic dynasties were in power during the evolution of the Sikh community, and it was clear by the increasing persecution they faced, that Sikhs were not regarded as Muslims. In his memoirs, Emperor Jahangir writes the following about his dislike for the Sikh faith. Guru Arjan had captured the minds of many simple-hearted Hindus, and even ignorant and foolish followers of Islam, by his ways and manners, and they had loudly sounded the drum of his holiness. They called him Guru, and from all sides stupid people crowded to worship and manifest complete faith in him. For 3 or 4 generations they had kept this shop warm. Many times it occurred to me to put a stop to this vain affair or to bring him into the assembly of the people of Islam. On the martyrdom of Guru Arjan, Mohsin Fani writes, Guru Arjan was tied up and kept in the open in the desert around Lahore. He gave up his life there owing to the strong sun, summer heat, and the injuries inflicted by the bailiffs. Through the hideous tortures by the Mughal Emperor Jahangir, Guru Arjan is described as remaining unruffled and calm as the sea, by Baigur Das. Following the martyrdom of his father, Har Gobind, the 6th Guru, took up arms to defend the faith. Another contemporary of the Guru, Gokul Chand Narang, provides the following eyewitness account. Har Gobind began to devote most of his time to wrestling, riding, tent pegging, and hunting the tigers and the boars. With the change of aims the occupation changed, and with the change in the occupation, came a change in tastes and even diet. The Dabistan provides an accurate account of the battles between Hargobind and the Mughal Emperor of India. Guru Hargobind had a battle with the forces of His Majesty, the Emperor Shah Jahan. The Guru's baggage and goods were plundered, and leaving Amritsar, he went to Kartarpur. There too a battle occurred. In this battle, Mir Badara and Pende Khan, who was the son of Fateh Khan, were slain. Before this event, and after it, many powerful forces were sent to attack him, but with God's aid, he came out safe, although he lost whatever he had possessed. From one Sikh named Saad, I heard that a man in that battle swung his sword towards the Guru. The Guru, turning to him, told the swordsman, "One does not wield the sword like this. This is how one strikes." And with that stroke he finished off the foe. One of the Guru's companions asked this writer, what is the reason that the Guru, while giving the stroke, said, "See, this is how one strikes." I replied, it seems to me that the Guru's striking with the sword was only by way of instruction, since an instructor is called Guru. It was not by way of anger, since that would be unworthy. The Guru proceeded to Kiratpur, which is situated in the Punjab hills. That area belonged to Raja Tara Chand. The people of that area worshipped images. On the top of the mountain an image of a goddess, known as Naina Devi, has been set up. Rajas and others from the territories around, going to that place, followed the custom of making a pilgrimage to it. When the Guru settled himself there, a Sikh of his, Beru by name, going to the temple, broke the nose of the goddess. The Rajas got the news of it and complained to the Guru. The Guru summoned Beru. Beru denied it. The Raja's servants said, "We recognize this man." He replied, "O Rajas, ask the goddess. If she takes my name, you can kill me." The Rajas said, "Fool, how can the goddess speak?" Beru broke into laughter, saying, "One now knows who is the fool. When she cannot prohibit anyone from breaking her own head, and cannot identify the person who has attacked her, what good do you expect from her, and why do you worship her?" The Rajas were put to silence. The Guru had 700 horses in his stable. 300 battle-tested horsemen and 60 musketeers were always in his service. Among them a set of persons occupied themselves in trade, service, and work. The Guru was a person, firmly believing in one, and comprehending the unique one. Someone asked him about the reality of the existence of the universe, and condition of being and existence. He replied, "The world is a mere appearance without being, something seen without existence. The only reality in it is the Supreme God, and all these physical bodies and angels are just illusions." There is a man called Deva, a Brahmin of Gobindwal in the Punjab, who calls himself Gyani. One day, he went to the Guru and sat down on a cot, belonging to Gurudidhar, the son of Guru Hargobind. People said, "Don't sit here." He asked for the reason. They replied, "This is the place of the Guru." Deva said, "Perhaps, the Guru's body is not made of the elements, or I do not have any command over reason. Or what he eats, I do not have the ability to eat." These words were reported to Guru Hargobind. He called him and said, "O Deva, the whole universe is one existence." He replied, "Yes." The Guru pointed to a donkey and said, "What is it? Do you recognize it?" Deva replied, "You are the absolute God. It too is you." The Guru laughed and did not feel hurt. Bidhi Chand is a Jat from a village near the capital city of Lahore. In his youth he used to engage in robbery. His house was always visited by the needy and the poor. When he came to Guru Hargobind, the Guru forbade him from engaging in robbery. The Guru gave him the position of Mahsand, and he collected offerings from the cultivated fields of people. There is also the story of Ram Das Chanda, a missionary of the Guru. He was a wealthy person and of Jat lineage. One day, he got wounded in the foot. Hargobind told him, Don't wear shoes. Immediately on hearing these words, he took off his shoes, and for 3 months went barefoot. When the Guru came to know of it, he said, "Do wear shoes." I had only spoken that way to enable the wound to heal. Some days later, one morning the Guru told him, "Tell the Sikhs to bring firewood for the kitchen, so that they may obtain merit." Chanda disappeared the next day, though on other days, he did not wake up from sleep till midday. People went in search of him. They saw him carrying a full load of firewood on his shoulder. The Guru said, "I did not order you to do so yourself." He replied, "You had spoken of Sikhs. I am a Sikh, and I don't know of a station above this one." One time, the Guru went into a garden and asked Chanda to stand outside. By chance, the Guru came out by another door and went home. Chanda stood there on foot for 3 days, until Hargobind heard of it and called him back. There is another Sikh called Debi Chand, writes, Mohsin Fani. He is the son of Purana, the Jat. They say so much about the miraculous powers of Purana, that these cannot find space here. They say Purana's foot can cure any pain that medicine cannot cure. Purana had a shoe which still remains, and they strike with it at the affected part. The Sikhs believe that this secures release from the pain. Debi Chand himself rubs his foot on the injuries and pain-affected parts of Sikhs. Debi Chand is a religious-minded person. His kitchen is always open. But neither a Hindu nor Muslim can approach him. His residence is village Chak Ram Das. Regarding the death of Baba Gura Didhar, yet another story is related by Mohsin Fani. Nakora, who is one of the Sikhs, one day brought his daughter and offered her in marriage to Baba Gura Didhar. The Baba desired that she should first be sent to the ladies' apartment. They did so. There, the mother of Har Rai, the 7th Guru, wanted the girl to be married to some other young man. Babaji came to Guru Hargobind and complained to him. The Guru replied, "I have called Nakora as one of my sons, so his daughter cannot be married to my son." This silenced Baba Gura Didhar. He had no words to speak. However, Nakora would not agree to take his daughter back. Baba Gura Didhar now did not dare refuse the humble request made by Nakora. The Guru said, "May this tie of wedlock and attainment of desire, be never consummated and facilitated." And during those very days, Babaji was isolated from the body, while wearing his bridegroom's robes. And the daughter of Nakora, returned home a virgin. On March 5, 1645, the Guru departed from this world. When his body was put upon firewood and the pyre was lighted, and the flames rose, Rajaram, by name, a Rajput, threw himself into the fire. He walked a few steps through the fire in order to reach the Guru's feet, and put his own head upon the soles of his feet and did not move, till life became extinct. Then a Jat boy, who attended on the Guru's son-in-law, jumped into the fire. Thereafter a number of people thought of jumping into the fire, but Guru Har Rai stopped them. Like his predecessor, Guru Har Rai, continued the tradition of maintaining an army. The Persian historian, Sujan Rai, makes a reference to this in his work. In the flurry of academic cogitations around the question, who is a Sikh, one thing that scholars cannot fail to note, is the increasing stridency of the tone of the stories about the 9 Gurus who succeeded Guru Nanak. It is common to place the kind, fatherly, gentle visage of Guru Nanak, the first Guru, next to the proud, martial and regal Guru Gobind Singh, the 10th and last, in Sikh homes and in classrooms teaching the development of Sikhism. Clearly, something has been transformed during the course of the teachings of the lineage of 10 Gurus from approximately 1500 to 1700 CE. The Sikhs were persecuted by either Hindu or Muslim rulers during nearly the entirety of this period. Abdur Rasool, a contemporary of Guru Gobind Singh, gives an account of his journey through Rajasthan, in his Nairang-e-Zamana. Among other things, he describes an armed conflict between the followers of Guru Gobind Singh, and the Rajput garrison of the fort of Chittor. But this was by no means the first incident of its kind. The Khalsa of Guru Gobind Singh had fought battles with the Hill Rajputs before the final evacuation of Anandpur, and according to the Guru Sabha, written in 1711, with the Rajputs in Rajasthan after that event. In 1710, a vakil, or agent at Delhi, sent a report on the Khalsa. According to him, Guru Gobind Singh used to exercise authority in the sub-montane tract of Kalur. In his conflict with the hill chiefs, the Mughal imperial forces supported the vassal chiefs. After much armed contention, Guru Gobind Singh was ejected from that territory, and his children were killed. Aurangzeb called him to the court, but was overtaken by death. After Bahadur Shah's accession to the throne, Guru Gobind Singh met the emperor. Finally, he died at the hands of an Afghan, who too got killed by the Guru when he returned a blow from his sword. The report goes on to add that Guru Gobind Singh had dismissed the Mahsans, or deputies, to establish the Khalsa, for whom it was obligatory to keep uncut hair. The institution of the Khalsa created tensions between the Khalsa and the other Sikhs, notably the Khatri Sikhs. Marriages between them were given up. The Khalsa and the other Sikhs actually fought each other at Amritsar, and the Khalsa were victorious. A force was sent from Lahore, but it failed to control matters. The revolutionary egalitarian message of the Gurus can be seen as a threat to any ruler of India, especially one who is dependent on a hierarchical social structure. Thus it is understandable that the Sikh tradition would be characterized with conflict, even violence, throughout its history. The non-Sikh writers of the early 18th century took much greater notice of Banda Singh Bahadur than that of Guru Gobind Singh. This may safely be attributed to the political activities of Banda Singh and his success in holding power for some time. When Wazir Khan, the governor of Sirhind, sent commanders with troops against the Khalsa in the Jalandhar region, his commanders were defeated. The Khalsa were hostile to Wazir Khan, because he had killed the young sons of their guru. Disorders spread in his territories and he was obliged to stay at Sirhind. A later report refers to the defeat and death of Wazir Khan on May 24, 1710. The Khalsa established their authority in Sirhind, and forbade the killing of animals. Muhammad Qasim, the earliest writer to give detail of Banda Singh's activities, mentions Wazir Khan's minister, Sach Anand, as a special target of the Sikhs, because of his earlier acts of cruelty to the young sons of Guru Gobind Singh. The city of Sirhind was destroyed. Some people were compelled to accept the Sikh faith. None was allowed to retain arms, horses, and other goods of chiefship. Baz Singh was appointed as the new governor of Sirhind. All territory from the river Sutlej up to Karnal passed under the government and control of Banda Singh Bahadur. In due course, Lahore was also threatened, but the combined force of the Mughal and Afghan armies forced them to retreat. The army of Islam returned victorious to Lahore. Some of its soldiers were vile and mean enough to commit shameful acts upon the Hindus of the city. Karfi Khan, another contemporary historian, writes, the Khatris of the Punjab were colluding with Banda, and the Jats were supporting him. The majority of Banda's followers were foot soldiers. They did not hesitate to die in battle. Their spirit of sacrifice, and their achievement through it, was attributed by the common people to magic and sorcery. Muhammad Shafi writes, after the conquest of Sirhind, Banda ordered that both Hindus and Muslims who became enrolled as Sikhs should take their meals together, to obviate the distinction of the lowly and the well-born. Consequently, a pauper was made equal to a prince. The administrators appointed by him belonged to lowly positions, including that of a sweeper or a cobbler. Eventually, Banda was besieged in the fort of Gurdaspur. Muhammad Qasim was an eyewitness to the sorties of the besieged. The Mughal commanders were so struck with fear, that they prayed that Banda should take to flight, so that their prestige was saved without risking their lives. The siege continued for 3 months or 4 months, during which time more reinforcements were sent. After a further siege of over 2 months, which made Banda's position utterly hopeless, he offered to surrender on the promise of safety. About 200 men came out with him and they were placed under custody. Zakaria Khan, escorted the prisoners to Delhi, where they were executed. Banda Bahadur and his 5-year-old son were the last to be executed after much torture on June 20, 1716. Mirza Muhammad, an eyewitness to some of the executions, writes, "There was no sign of humility and submission on the faces of the Sikhs. Most of them kept singing and reciting melodious verses. They attributed their defeat to fate, and had no fear of death. In a week's time all the Sikhs were beheaded in batches of 100. Banda himself was hacked to death along with his young son and 20 prominent devoted Sikhs." Karfi Khan adds, "During the executions, the mother of one youth pleaded his innocence, and the emperor ordered his release. But her son cried out that she was telling a lie, and that he should be executed so that he may join his companions." The evidence of non-Sikh sources on the resurgence of the Khalsa, like their evidence on Banda Singh Bahadur, is extremely valuable. After Banda Singh, the persecution of Sikhs continued. According to Thomas Khan, Governor Mir Manu made special preparations to suppress the Sikhs, and offered incentives to those who might join his plan of suppression and persecution. This piece of evidence carries the implication that the Sikhs had become a serious menace by the time Mir Manu took over the governorship of Lahore. While Mir Manu was at Batala, news was received that the Sikhs were creating trouble. He sent Syed Jamal-ud-Din Khan, and Bakshi Ghazi Beg Khan, against them. The Sikhs were dispersed. After some time, Mir Manu himself reached out of Lahore to a distance of 7 kos, and encamped near village Tikapur, situated on the bank of Ravi. He halted there for a long time, and sent out Mughal troops under Khwaja Mirza in every direction, to suppress the Sikhs. Khwaja Mirza at the head of his troops rode out 20 or sometimes 30 kos. Wherever he got a clue of the whereabout of the Sikhs, he suddenly fell upon them and slew them. The persons who brought Sikhs alive or their heads, or their horses, received awards. Every Mughal who lost his own horse in the battle was provided with another of a better quality at the expense of the government. The Sikhs who were captured alive were beaten with wooden mallets and killed. At times, Adina Beg Khan sent 40 to 50 captured Sikhs from the Jalandhar district. They were as a rule killed with the strokes of wooden hammers. How Mir Manu died while fighting against the Sikhs in 1753 has been graphically described by Thomas Khan. Minute details about the persecution of Sikhs are available. One day at his place Tikapur in the month of Muharram, he mounted a horse and went out for a hunt. Before proceeding, he sent Khwaja Mirza Khan and some other chiefs to proceed against the Sikhs. By this time Khwaja Mirza Khan had brought the heads of a few Sikhs. Mir Manu gave rewards to the soldiers, who had brought in the heads. Due to exertion he became speechless and fainted. He was put in a palanquin and brought to the camp. Physicians came to attend upon him. They tried various remedies but of no use. At midnight, Mir Manu passed away. The persecution of the Sikhs continued even after the death of Mir Manu. Thomas Khan joined the army to fight against the Sikhs. He writes, "Qasim Khan, then encamped at a distance of 2 kos from Lahore. The same day we had to fight against the Sikhs. Qasim Khan was advised to forestall the Sikhs and fall upon them boldly, so that they could be destroyed. In the evening, he returned to his tents. The Sikhs followed him fighting all the way up to his tents, and then dispersed. Next day, Qasim Khan left the road to Patti, and moving towards a village 12 kos away, camped there. On the plea that the people had sided with the Sikhs, he imprisoned them. He camped there for a month. He did not release women and children who were taken captives. The Sikhs used to fight with him every day and depart. In 1757, the Afghans invaded India. Jihan Khan, the Afghan commander, fought a pitched battle with the Sikhs near Amritsar. Their harshness obliged him to retire to some secret place. The troops returned empty-handed. From that moment, says Thomas, the shape of administration, which in that country had been in good order, was disrupted, and from every side tumult and rebellion began to be raised by the Sikhs. Wherever the Afghan army went, it came back defeated, till things came to such a pass, that the environs of the city of Lahore were affected. Every night in bodies of 1,000, the Sikhs attacked the city and sacked the quarters outside the city wall. No one came out of the city to disperse or stop them. Timur Shah, son of Ahmad Shah Abdali, provides a very important Persian source. It gives us contemporary Afghan evidence about the Sikh way of life. He begins his Hakikat with the observation that Nanak Shah introduced a system which was hitherto unknown among the Hindu nation. In his religion, there is very little prejudice against Muslims, nay, they have practically no prejudice against any nation. They welcome both friend and foe, alike. He has vividly described the political events, as well as the belief of the Sikhs in the efficacy of the water of the Sarovar, of Darbar Sahib. After a year, Ahmad Shah came again, and they gave way and scattered themselves, here and there. Ahmad Shah destroyed Amritsar, where there are many deep tanks, several buildings, and a temple of the Sikhs. It is common among the Sikhs, to assemble at Amritsar, and take their bath. When a Sikh is wounded in battle, he is kept in a home erected by the side of the tank, and the water of the tank is rubbed on the wound instead of medicine. Thomas Khan estimated that 25,000 Sikhs were slain in what is known as the Great Carnage in Sikh sources.